All right, in the meantime, Jeff Sessions is on Capitol Hill right now. A little bit of a break here. He's been speaking to the Judiciary Committee. And again, ostensibly, the idea is to understand the Russian role in the last election, who we talked with, who we knew, who set up hearings, and especially when it comes to these alleged conversations that took place with George Papadopoulos, who agreed to plead guilty to one count of lying. And now they're trying to find out who Papadopoulos might have talked to. Jeff Sessions saying earlier today that he had no recollection of a meeting either involving Papadopoulos or one that would have been orchestrated to involve the president or anyone else in the White House. Whether this creates some noise here and disruption from the tax cut momentum and some of the other stuff you hear at the same time, the Attorney General might be looking to name a special prosecutor to look into a lot of Hillary Clinton messes with that Uranium One deal going back to the Obama administration. Obviously, a lot of distractions there, whether you think they're justified or not. The Speaker of Media, President and CEO Lee Spieckerman, also Wall Street Journal editorial page assistant James Freeman. James, to you first on this. How big a deal is this going to be? First off, on the Sessions stuff with the special prosecutor, should it come to pass, he's almost in a no-win situation. Get a special prosecutor who looks like he's a lapdog of the White House. Don't do it. He angers the White House. How does it go?
Well, I think personally, I don't see why you need a special counsel for any of these. We elect a president. We have a Justice Department. Constitutionally, they investigate crimes. If this ends up having another special counsel, then maybe then people will sour on the idea of special counsels and go back to the idea of straight political accountability as it should be.
There's a concept. Lee, the one thing that did come up in this discussion here is that Jeff Sessions, of course, is the former senator of Alabama. Many wanted to recruit him as a write-in candidate for what's happening right now with Judge Roy Moore. What do you think of that? He has said that is the Attorney General not interested, don't even, broach the subject. But what do you think?
Well, frankly, I'd rather see him back in the Senate from Alabama than as Attorney General, but not before they do name that second prosecutor. I do believe we need a second special counsel. I've said for a long time that I think Mueller should be terminated. There's no excuse for that kind of assault on the Constitution. There's nothing in the Constitution about special prosecutors. So I totally agree with Mr. Freeman on that. But I've not been happy with how Sessions has handled this matter as Attorney General, and neither has President Trump. I frankly don't like how he's handled criminal justice reform and
well, Lee, how do you feel if he does do this and gets a special counsel going? You know the rap, like I said in the outset here, that he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. Appointing a special prosecutor who should be indicated as caving into White House demands, even though that might not be the case, it might be genuinely warranted. Others have said by not doing it, it looks like he's kind of flippant on it. Where do you stand?
It is warranted. And whether they're going to attribute anything that's done by this Department of Justice or President Trump's administration to politics, to nefarious motives. So, we can forget about that. If we're going to keep Mueller, we need to appoint a second special prosecutor to focus on Uranium One and the Clinton malfeasance. That was the real Russian intervention and Russian meddling. The Russians thought that Clinton was going to win the presidency. People overlooked that. Believe me, they were as surprised as everyone when Donald Trump won. They played both sides. They did a little bit to talk to him. Now we're finding out the Fusion GPS, the Democratic paid dirty tricks firm, met with that lawyer before and after she met at Trump Tower, and it was not even a consequential meeting. So yes, there should be a special prosecutor focused on the tremendous corruption that we have indications of dealing with the Russians and Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation. And if we can't get rid of Mueller, that would be unfortunate. But at the very least, we need to make sure that there's an equivalent investigation of the real corruption, which was what happened with Hillary Clinton during the Obama administration.
James, back to what's going on in South Carolina, there does seem to be a sort of parallel rush to try to get this whole tax thing resolved and voted on. I think, this is my opinion here, given the timetable they're looking at, it seems before December 12th, to have it wrapped up before that general election in Alabama, whether Roy Moore is part of it or not, under the belief that they could lose a Republican seat regardless, no matter who's written in there, and that worries them, and that by trying to beat and dodge a bullet by then, they'll just slip it under the cracks. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to delay. They've obviously delayed it a lot. I think they have a unified caucus. It's very different from the health care situation. We see Republicans in the Senate hanging together, ready to vote yes, going through the committee this week.
Do you think all the Republicans are yes? Because I wonder
Very
about
close,
that.
very
Really?
close. I mean, you're still having some discussions over the details. I'm actually getting optimistic that this plan could get even better. If you get rid of the Obamacare individual mandate, that means you've got more money under their bizarre beltway accounting, so you can start that corporate tax rate cut right away in 2018, get all the growth benefits
But wouldn't the
going.
mandate thing make it more controversial and possibly get in the way of getting the tax cut thing approved? I know what you're saying, but go ahead.
You're not cutting anyone's benefits. All you're doing is saying
The
people are free to
requirement that
take it or not
covered.
take it,
Yep.
and we're not going to penalize people who choose not to take it anymore. So this doesn't have any of the political problems that you would have seen in some of these earlier debates. I think it's a huge winner. Now, should they go beyond December 12th? It does get a little more dicey. Obviously, a very thin margin in the Senate and some members who are not in the best health. But I think they get it done regardless. But wouldn't hurt to do it before the 12th.
All right, Lee, assuming they don't write your name in enough in Alabama, then what are we looking at here?
Well, first of all, what I don't think has been made clear enough by the media is that if Moore should withdraw from the race or the Alabama Republican Party should revoke their nomination of him, the election is null and void, and there's no need for a write-in. I think a write-in campaign would be foolish. What they ought to focus on is getting
his name is
Alabama
already on the
Democratic
ballot,
Party to take him off the ticket.
But Lee, his name is on the ballot.
He's on the ballot, but he's on the ballot, but as I understand what the Secretary of State said, I believe on one of your shows, not your show, but one of the Fox News Channel shows, is
why are you watching
that
Fox News?
One of the candidates is not actually running, whether or not he or she is on the ballot, the election is null and void.
Interesting.
So if he is unnominated, so to speak, by the party, or if Moore should withdraw, the problem would be solved. So that's why we have to focus on getting that done.
We'll see.
It doesn't default to the Democratic candidate.
All right, we shall see. Lee,
and we should not, by the way, I don't think we should rush into the tax thing. I think we're rushing too quickly. That's how you have flawed policy, when you say we've absolutely got to pass this tomorrow morning. I disagree with Senator Moore Caputo. We do not want to delay the tax rate reduction for corporations. We've got to get rid of these delays and sunsets over the 10-year budget window.
They're going to rush this,
ridiculous.
they're going to rush this because they figure that the haste won't make waste.
More work.
But time's a wasting for them.